The message arrived while I was cutting apples. The knife stopped mid-slice. Juice ran down my wrist like something alive. He isn't who you think he is. No name, no number, just that sentence sitting on my screen, breathing. In the other room, my son laughed at a cartoon. My husband laughed with him. Their voices tangled together, warm, familiar. A sound I thought I trusted more than my own pulse. The phone vibrated again. A photo this time. I didn't look at it right away. My thumb hovered. I counted the tiles on the kitchen floor. 6 across. 8 down. Control the breathing. Control the hands. Then I opened it. A hotel lobby. Time-stamped last night. My husband at the desk. His hand resting on the lower back of a woman I didn't recognize. Too intimate to be accidental. Too practiced to be new. The knife slipped. It nicked my skin. A thin red line appeared. I watched the blood gather. Calm, precise, almost elegant. From the living room, he called my name. Asked if everything was okay. I looked at the photo again. At his face, relaxed, unafraid, a man who believed the ground. Beneath him was permanent. I pressed a paper towel to my finger and answered him. Yes. My voice didn't shake. That's when I knew something inside me had already moved. Not broken. Moved. I didn't confront him. People expect explosions, tears, plates shattering against walls. That's theater. I prefer autopsies. I studied him instead. The way he set his phone face down now. The new passwords. The late meetings that arrived with rehearsed sighs. He kissed my forehead more often. Guilt disguised as tenderness. I cataloged everything. Receipts in his pockets. A cologne that wasn't his. A softness in his eyes when he texted. A private smile he never shared. The woman from the photo surfaced again 2 days later. Another message. Another angle. Them entering an elevator. His hand threaded through hers. I waited for the nausea. It never came. Only a cold expansion in my chest, like a room being cleared of furniture. At dinner, he asked about my day. I described it in detail. The grocery store. The laundry. Our son's drawing of a crooked sun. I watched his face while I spoke. He nodded in the right places. He reached for my hand. A performance inside a performance. I wondered how long he'd been rehearsing. That night, he slept with his back to me. I studied the curve of his spine. The man I built a life around. The father of my child. A stranger wearing his skin. The betrayal wasn't the affair. It was the assumption that I would never look closely enough to see it. I became methodical. Phone bills first. Numbers repeated in patterns. A private line registered under a shell account. Sloppy. He'd grown comfortable. I memorized the number. I didn't call it. I traced it. Work lunches that lasted 3 hours. A credit card I didn't know existed. Hotel charges tucked between mundane expenses. Gas, groceries, infidelity, hidden inside domesticity. I smiled more at home. He relaxed into it. That was the key. Let the animal believe it's safe. I followed him once. Parked across the street. Watched him enter the same hotel from the photo. My hands were steady on the wheel. I expected rage. Instead, I felt clinical curiosity. So this is where my marriage goes to die, I thought. The lobby doors opened. He stepped inside without hesitation. Practice. I drove home and made dinner. When he returned, he kissed me with the mouth that had just spoken lies. I tasted mint and deception. I kissed him back. Not for him, for information. Weeks passed. Evidence stacked, neatly in a hidden folder. Photos, statements, timelines. A map of his double life. So precise it could survive in court. I wasn't building a case. I was building an exit, one that protected my son, one that left him with nothing but the truth. The report arrived on a Tuesday. I slid it across the table while he drank his coffee. He frowned at the envelope, opened it lazily, expecting bills, junk, safety. His eyes moved. Stopped. Moved again, faster. Color drained from his face in stages. A controlled demolition. Private investigator findings, photos, dates, the woman's name, the duration. 2 years. He looked up at me like I'd pulled a weapon. I held his gaze, calm, neutral. How long? I asked. Were you going to let me live in your version of reality? His mouth opened, closed, a broken hinge. It's not... I raised a hand. He fell silent. The power shifted so cleanly I almost heard it. Tears gathered in his eyes. Not for me, for himself. For the life he felt slipping. "I can explain," he whispered. "I know," I said. And I did. That was the horror of it. I didn't yell. I outlined the terms. The house transferred to my name. Full custody. A financial settlement already drafted. I slid the documents beside the report. He stared at them like they were written in a foreign language. "If you fight me," I said quietly, "this becomes public. Your job, her husband, your parents. Our son will grow up with a transcript of your choices." His shoulders collapsed inward. A man folding into his consequences. "You planned this," he said. "Yes." The word landed softly. I told him I'd known for months. That every smile, every dinner, every shared joke had been measured. That I stayed not to save him, but to secure the future of the child he'd gambled. He cried then. A raw animal sound. I watched without flinching. This was not cruelty. This was accounting. He signed. Each signature a confession. Years later, my son asked why his father lived in another city. I told him the truth in pieces he could carry. "Some people forget what they promised," I said. "And promises have weight." He nodded like he understood. Maybe he did. I saw my ex once at a distance, smaller, dimmed, a man haunted not by my anger, but by my absence. I felt nothing sharp. No victory, no grief, only completion. I had been sent into that marriage believing love was shelter. I left understanding it was strategy. A mother's love is not soft. It is architecture, defense, calculation. I didn't destroy him. I removed myself and let gravity finish the work. And in the quiet that followed, I finally understood. The most brutal revenge is survival without them.